Buongiorno. I'm Chris Abadi, and I'm here on behalf of Ceramic House of Italy. And I wanted to welcome you to our session with Ron Jones and give you some kind of rapid, fast background on the Italian tile industry and why we are so committed to sustainability. We are here with a booth at 1045 around the corner, so you should come and see a mix of Italian tile. We are here sponsored by the Italian Trade Commission and the Italian Tile Association. There's a joint venture partnership where they do work across the globe promoting use and sort of understanding of Italian ceramics. So we're excited to have Ron Jones here, but before he starts, I thought I would kind of run through a little bit about why Italian tile and what we're going to be seeing today. Again, we represent 150 or so companies active in the market. We have tiles made in Italy, and Ron will also producing it here in the States. The sort of heart of the Italian tile region is around Bologna, where I was actually born, and it's a beautiful region that really celebrates ceramics across the board. And as you can see, this is where the annual show each year, Cersei, takes place. And it just draws like 100,000 from around the world coming in to see learn about tile. It's fantastic. There are just thousands and thousands of tiles. So we created something called the green card, which we put on your chairs, but we thought we'd just run through it real fast because we think there's some really fun points about the ceramics in general that people sometimes don't think about. Just the fact that our industry is really close. There are all these manufacturers near each other, and they're producing on top of one another, living there. They need to be really responsible about their production, so they're recycling materials, recycling energy, capturing energy from the production to put back in. The tile is shipped on boats as opposed to on truck or planes, so that tends to be a much more environmentally friendly way to ship. That it's resistant, it can actually help in a fire situation to stop the spread of fire. That it's recycled, there's an actual recycled content. There are manufacturers that are using screens from TVs and monitors, and they're putting it into production, but they're also using post and pre-consumer waste. That it's recyclable at the end of a process, so at the end you can sort of put it out as an inert material. It's not going to break down into anything bad. The packaging is recycled. It doesn't off-gas like carpet or other substances, so you can use it in a space and not have to worry about off-gassing. Energy saving, it's obvious it'll hold energy. It actually, there are companies purchasing carbon credits. There are these new, really slim, and I'm going to show you some photos real quickly of those. We have some samples in our booth, but these tiles are 3 meter by 1 meter in size and super skinny and thin, and they can actually go over existing substrate or be shipped, and they're much lighter and easier to ship, so there's an actual energy savings there. They're actually mounting photovoltaic panels on tiles. That when you look at ceramic versus other hard or soft surfaces, the fact that they last 50 plus years, their life cost analysis were really amazing. The maintenance of a tile is extremely easy and low in terms of any kind of chemicals. You can just clean it with a regular cleanser. And finally, that it's adaptable. If you have any issues or anything, that you can just spot repair it, and it'll last and be used indoor or outdoor. And then we thought it'd be just because people are kind of wondering about the different kind of labels. The eco label is a European label for product, and it means that it's been produced in a responsible way and that the product contains, has met certain standards. LEED obviously is the American system, and you'll see that's kind of covered in more detail on the cards, how ceramics can qualify for points. And then we thought about this just fun, and I'm going to show them to you quickly, and then I want to, if you guys want to take a look and see it back at our booth later, we can show you again with some of the top sort of trends that we're seeing inside out. The tile, because a lot of what you see out there right now is porcelain, which has a very low water absorption, so it can be used inside out. So in most parts of the country. So these are just different manufacturers and their new collections that are, that's a friend of ours, an architect in Arizona, Michael B. Johnson. He uses it all throughout his architecture, inside and out. Urban graffiti, this is kind of a new trend we've been seeing, which is kind of funky, kind of playing with that cement and concrete looks, but then also adding sort of a crazy graffiti kind of motif. This designer, Massimiliano Adami, took tiles on the back, glazed them, and then cut them up into grids, and then they're really fun. You can see that's Oxy by Mirage. So some of these tiles are with us here, but some are not, so we can connect you. This tile is art. a mix, again, from all over. We have a real strong kind of population of manufacturers in one area, but also in other parts of Italy and Sicily and Vietnam, or Amalfi Coast. We've seen an amazing revolution in size. These are the 3 meter by 1 meter I mentioned. Patrick Gaylor designed for Leia. You can see how thin they are and how light they are, and they can be cut very simply, and they put a fiberglass backing if you want to use them on the floor. They're playing a lot with rectangles, with oversized, with small. You'll see a tile in our booth that's 48 by 48. They're using an exterior cladding, which is also a very good energy saving kind of way to use tile, and it's used all over Europe. Mini mosaics. Faux finishes, you'll see a lot of this as well out in the market right now. It's coming out of Italy. This looks like a damask. Wood, all these different wood patterns. And then I'm almost done. This is like a slate. So we have a design competition, which we are always looking for great projects using Italian tiles. So we wanted to come by our booth and kind of get in touch with us about that. Looks like a shop. And that brings me to Ron. So we just thought we'd kind of give you a little overview, and again, come by for more information. Ron, we discovered Ron and started working with him about, I would say, 10 years ago. He's the president of GreenBuilder Media, and he's just a visionary and articulate spokesman for the whole green building movement involved with USGBC and a lot of the code and standard work that's happening across the country and internationally. So we partner with him on the reVision House, and I'm very proud to present it to you now.
That's good, thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for coming and for being here. Thank you for having us, Chris. Let me just tell you a little bit about the project. The reVision House project is part of our Vision House series through GreenBuilder Media. We publish GreenBuilder magazine, which is essentially a trade publication, reaches out to about 200,000 building professionals, designers, code officials, subcontractors, builders, developers, etc., around the country. And we have a number of different initiatives that we pursue, and one of the most fun is our Vision House series, which is a series of demonstration projects that we build around the country. We've done several in Florida, a project in New Orleans, St. Louis, New Mexico. We're working on a project in the LA area right now that we're just bringing out of the ground with some extraordinary builders from here in the Los Angeles market. And then also an extraordinary house that we did a year ago in Aspen, Colorado. So we get to do a nice range of demographic and price point and size and that sort of thing. And one of the most rewarding pieces comes from the deep energy retrofit remodels that we do. We call those the reVision houses. And I'm going to talk a little bit about one of those today because we did a reVision project in Orlando for the International Builders Show earlier this year. And that project involved a number of manufacturers. I think there were 9 different manufacturers from the Italian Tile Council that were represented there, and they did a beautiful job. And I think it's particularly important today, given the fact that new home building is down, as you know, and so people in the design and in the trade are concentrating on a lot of retrofit and remodeling work, and that's important for everybody. I just wanted to show you, this is in College Park, which is a central neighborhood area in Orlando, the old downtown part of Orlando, and it's very typical of houses that were built in the 50s and 60s. It's CMU block construction, had almost no insulation in it, single pane windows. I think it had about 11 tons of air conditioning in it, and you still couldn't get cool enough. And you can see that wonderful galley kitchen that we discovered when we got in there. So that's what we had to work with. And in a period of about, I think, 4 months, there was this gigantic transformation. Of course, it began with what you see there right now, a demolition that took it right down to the skeleton of the house. When we were finished, how many of you know what a HERS rating is? It's an energy rating. And so a HERS rating of 100 means that the house scores an energy rating that is equivalent to a house that's built to code today. So that's not necessarily the greatest, but that's the benchmark. So a score of 100, if you were building to Energy Star, a new home, I think they've adjusted that number, but it's around 65 or 70. So the lower the score, the better and the more energy efficient it is. Well, just to talk about the sustainability overview of this, the HERS score for this particular house was off the chart. I think it was about 130 something, 138 maybe. And when we were finished, the house scored in the mid-50s. So it was considerably better than an Energy Star house. But we don't just look at energy. That's an important starting point for sustainability in the built environment, but it's not the only thing, because as we tighten buildings, as you know, we have a huge impact on indoor environment quality, indoor air. And for example, EPA tells us now that 1 in 5 families in this country have at least one member with asthma, and that 4 out of 10 children born today in the United States will develop some sort of respiratory ailment. Now this is important because we are also informed that children today spend about 90% of their time indoors. So indoor air quality is critical, and that's one of the other things that led us to the Italian tiles, because of the fact that they are actually one of the best choices in terms of indoor environment quality. So this is an after shot of that same house that you just saw. This is real. It's not a mock-up. This was ready in February of this year. I think it turned out beautifully. Inside and outside, we did a lot of really interesting things, including some smog-eating tile on the roof there, permeable pavers, and a water-stingy, award-winning landscaping plan that really dealt with the water resource, which is critical in all parts of the country. Florida is no exception. The picture on the right, I wanted to mention to you, I included this because for demonstration purposes, when we had the house open for the International Builder Show, we actually left some behind the walls, or in this case behind the ceiling vignettes, so that people could see the spray foam insulation and some of the other systems that we put into play. But I also wanted to point out this lovely floor dress Ecotech, which is on the floor of the patio back here, and obviously is approved for an outdoor use. This is really an interesting product, because this reuses powders, resins, and pastes from other manufactured products, and it includes those recycled components up to 70% of the content, and it's really beautiful. So I wanted to make sure that we showed the use of that on the exterior as well as the interior. Now, durability was key, but it had to be beautiful. This was a show home that we did. Interior designer Pat Gaylor from New Jersey did the interior design work, and she did a beautiful job, especially because we wanted to showcase a variety of different Italian products. So for example, in the open space that is the main dining room and living room and kitchen area, the floor tile that we used is Ragno USA, and it's a high-end inkjet technology that creates a textile type finish. So this had a really lovely linen look, and also 44% recycled content itself. What this allowed us to do, because of the size of the tile and the format, and the fact that we expanded it into a variety of different areas within the main parts of the house, it gave us a great deal more feeling of spaciousness than we had before. And it allowed us to, I think we had a get-together there that we were wall-to-wall people in this house, which is only about 3,000 square feet. And I know that we had at least 400 people in this main area of the house, plus the caterers. And it just never felt like it was overwhelmed. And I think that the way Pat arranged the flooring and did this magnificent job was a big part of that. Now the image on the right is the breakfast nook that's off the kitchen, and that particular one included an Emile Ceramica, and that's in a golden oak. It's their golden wood collection, and it's a minimum of 40% recycled, and it has a very beautiful, easy to keep wood look that really warmed the space up, and it made it very welcoming and had a good family feel to it. So that was one of our favorite parts of the house as well. You can see here, I wanted to do a shot of the kitchen. The same floor tile that we were describing reaches into the floor tile spaces of the kitchen and around all through that part of the house. So it gave us this nice connectivity and open space, and it helps to facilitate the fact that if you were gathering in the kitchen or if you're working in the kitchen, you don't feel like you're cut off from the rest of the house. That flow was an excellent design feature that really helped to enhance that. Also wanted to talk about the backsplash, which is from Trend USA. This is really interesting. This is, as you can see, this is a 3/4 by 3/4 mosaic and a palette of 12 colors. And it's called their Feel, F-E-E-L collection. And it is up to 78% post-consumer. It's made of recycled glass bottles. It's just wonderful, it's glorious, and it really pops because we have, as you can see, some nice soft palette, and I think that was an excellent choice. Pat just did a terrific job. And then there's just a little shot over here in the corner, a little vignette. I wanted to mention the powder room has a Casa Dulce Casa, and this is a leather look, and it comes in 4 different sizes and 4 different finishes, 4 different colors. So that's something that you might look for too, and I don't know if Chris and her team have it over in the ceramic tile booth or not, but I'm sure they can get you information on that if you're interested. I wanted to also talk a little bit about the master bath because that's a focal point for designers, and as you know, it's one of the big selling points for any home, whether it's a remodeled home or a new home. And I really thought that Pat did a wonderful job with this particular approach because what she wanted to do was get a marble-like feel and then to have an open spaciousness that, again, would increase the opulence of the entire space as part of the master suite. She did a wonderful job of doing that because she included from Imola their Carrara. This is an Italian porcelain, but it's a marble look-alike, and it's large format. It's 20 by 40 inches. So it gave that nice expansive feel again that you didn't have a lot of busy grout lines, but interestingly enough, it travels vertically into the shower and other parts of the room as well. It's a little difficult to see from just still photographs like this, but it's something that translated into a finish that gave a real richness to this space that I think added a tremendous amount of value. There's one other line of products that I want to mention specifically, and I think on the last slide, all of the other manufacturers are listed as well that I don't necessarily have images of, but I wanted to mention MyPay. Now, these are products that are for the grouts, mortars, waterproofing, adhesives, and so forth. And for those of you who are interested in LEED compliance and you're looking for those points to pick up, they have more than 110 LEED compliant products. Sometimes we overlook the importance of those adhesives and the off-gassing from the underlayments and from grout and from some of the tertiary products. So we have found that these marvelous and beautiful Italian tile products serve our sustainability goals in a number of ways, and not the least of which is that they really improve the sustainability from the durability standpoint, from the air quality standpoint. We're always thrilled to display them because of their recycled content, the recyclability that Chris talked about. And I would mention to you that I think of the 9 companies that provided material for this demonstration project, the majority of them have U.S. facilities. And so we sort of get the best of both worlds because ceramics are really an art form in Italy. And if you ever get a chance to visit Cersei and to take in that show, it's really a marvelous place to go. Now, as you can see, here's a list, and I think that these presentations are available after the fact, but we also have information on all of them that you can get through Chris and the Italian Tile Council. And then also we have a wonderful collection of our Vision House and reVision House projects on our website, which we'll pull up in a minute. But I wanted to make sure that you had a chance to see some of the names that I mentioned. There were a couple of smaller rooms that I didn't get to really bring up, and a couple of other bathrooms because we have a fairly tight schedule here today. But thank you for coming in.